Welcome to What Dwells Beneath, a true crime and paranormal podcast where we tear through the skin of the world to reveal the shadows clawing underneath. I'm your host, Perzival, and this show is stitched together by the twisted genius of our producer, Neku. Tonight, we're stepping into a mystery that's older than the cliffs it haunts, a tale that hums with unease and breathes down your neck. Buckle up, dwellers, because we're chasing the dark watchers of California's St. Lucia Mountains, silent, shadowy figures that have stalked their ridges for centuries. Are they ghosts, tricks of the fog, or something ancient, staring with eyes we can't meet? Let's climb into the twilight and find what dwells beneath. It's May 2025, Big Sur, California. The sun sinking behind St. Lucia Mountains, painting the peaks in streaks of gold and ash. You're hiking a steep trail, boots crunching on loose gravel, the Pacific Ocean's roar echoing below. Mists curl through the pines, thick and cold, swallowing the world in patches. You're alone, or so you think. Then it hits, prickle in your neck, like something's eyes are boring into you. You follow that feeling. You glance up to a jagged ridge, and there it is. A tall, dark silhouette, motionless, cloaked in black, a wide-brimmed hat shaped against the fading sky. It's watching you. Heart hammering, you blink, and it's gone. Melted into the fog like it never was. That, dwellers, is a dark watcher, and it's been haunting these mountains since the 1700s. Tonight, we're diving deep into this legend, a cornerstone of California's folklore that's as eerie as it is elusive. These aren't your run-of-the-mill cryptids, no startling beasts or glowing eyes, just silent, towering figures perched on high, observing with a purpose we can't grasp. We'll trace the roots from Spanish settlers to modern hikers, sift through the theories, optical illusions, spirits, or something far stranger, and ask why these shadows keep us glancing over our shoulders. By the end, you'll be wondering, what's really up there, staring from the peaks? So, kill the lights, settle in, slip on your headphones, and let's trek into the mist. The St. Lucia Mountains hug California's central coast, a rugged spine of granite and pine stretching from Monterey to St. Luis Obispo. They're breathtaking but brutal. Trails snake through fog-choked valleys, cliffs plunge into the Pacific, and the air feels alive, like the land's holding secrets. For over 300 years, people have sworn something's up there, watching from the ridges, silent and still. The Dark Watchers first appear in written records from the 1700s, when Spanish settlers, the vaqueros and missionaries, pushed into the region. They called them Los Vigilantes Oscuros, the Dark Watchers, describing tall, shadowy figures, sometimes 10 to 15 feet high, cloaked in black robes, often wearing wide-brimmed hats or clutching gnarled staffs. These weren't quick glimpses. The settlers felt observed, like the figures were studying their every move from the peaks. The stories took root. They were whispered around campfires. And when Anglo-American settlers arrived in the 1800s, they felt it too, the unshakable sense of eyes on their back. But the legend might stretch further. Some say the Dark Watchers tie to the Chumash people, who've called this coast home for 13,000 years. The Chumash myths are packed with spirits and shapeshifters, like the Nunasis. These are trickster beings who brought bad luck and twisted reality. There's no direct Chumash tale of cloaked watchers, but the mountains were sacred to them, places of power where the veil between worlds thinned. It's easy to imagine and understand if the Chumash sensed something up there, even if they didn't name it. A 2023 Historic Mysteries article floats the idea, noting that the Chumash revered peaks like Cone Peak as spiritual hubs. Could the Watchers be echoes of those beliefs, reshaped by later settlers? The legend leaps into the modern era. In the 1930s, thanks to John Steinbeck, author of The Grapes of Wrath. In his 1938 short story Flight, Steinbeck weaves the Watchers into a tale of desperation. A young man, Pepe, flees from the St. Lucias after killing someone. His mother warns him, "When thou comest to the highest mountains, if thou seest any of the dark watching men, go not near them, nor try to speak to them." Pepe spots one, a black figure on a ridge, staring down, unyielding. Steinbeck writes, "No one knew who the Watchers were, nor where they lived, but it was better to ignore them and never show interest in them." That line hits hard, dwellers. Like the mountains are saying, look away, or else. Now, Steinbeck wasn't spinning fiction from nothing. He grew up in the Salinas Valley, where locals swapped Watcher stories like ghost tales. His son, Thomas Steinbeck, later claimed he saw them as a kid in the 1950s, describing tall, quiet shadows that felt alive. Thomas co-wrote In Search of the Dark Watchers with artist Benjamin Brode in 2013, diving to the Big Sur's folklore. They interviewed folks like Billy Post, a legendary local who swore he'd seen Watchers since the 1940s. Always at dusk, always silent, always cloaked in black. Another literary giant, poet Robertson Jeffers, gave the Watchers a nod in his 1937 collection, Such Counsels You Gave to Me. He describes forms that look human to human eyes, but are certainly not human. Watching from the ridges, Jeffers adds a gut-punching detail. One character approaches a Watcher and sees his own face staring back, twisted before it melts into the shadows. Imagine that, dwellers. Hiking alone, spotting a figure, and realizing it's you, but wrong, like a mirror from hell. These aren't just old stories. In the 1960s, a Monterey Peninsula high school principal was hiking near Ventura Double Cone when he saw a dark figure in a hat and a cape, perched on a rock. He shouted to his group, and poof, it was gone. Now let's fast forward to 2025, and the internet is buzzing with sightings. A user, Trail Ghosts, posted last year, camped near Cone Peak, saw a tall shadow on the ridge at dusk, hat and all. I thought it was a tree until it moved, and then gone when I looked again. It was the creepiest night ever. Another user, Big Sur Wanderer, said they felt watched for hours on a 2024 hike, spotting a cloaked figure only when they turned back at twilight. No photos were taken though. The Watchers seemed to slip past the cameras. So what are we dealing with? A tall, silent figure that appears at dawn or dusk, always distant, always vanishing when you get close. They don't attack, they don't speak, they just watch. It's the stillness that burrows under your skin, like they're weighing you for something we can't fathom. Let's keep climbing, because the trail's getting darker. The Dark Watchers aren't your typical paranormal case. They're no grisly crime scene, no cursed relic, just a steady drip of sightings. Century after century, they refuse to fade. Let's piece together what we know, the fragments that make this legend so damn hard to shake. First, the descriptions are unnervingly consistent. From Spanish settlers to the 2025 hikers, witnesses agree. These are humanoid silhouettes, 7 to 15 feet tall, cloaked in dark robes or trench coats, often with wide-brimmed hats or staffs. They're featureless, no faces, no eyes, just black voids against the skin. They show up at twilight or dawn when the light's low and the mountains are swathed in mist. They're always distant, perched on ridges or peaks, never close enough to touch. Approach them and they dissolve, like smoke in the wind. That's the pattern, and it's held for 300 years. The St. Lucia Mountains are central to this. These peaks are remote, rugged, and steeped in mystery. Fog rolls in thick, twisting shadows into shapes that mess with your head. The Chumash considered parts of the range sacred And even now, hikers talk about a vibe up there. Something heavy, like the air's alive. In 2019, a camper near Cone Peak told Weird California they saw a watcher on the ridge, darker than dark, standing like a statue. They woke their friend, but when they turned around, it was gone, leaving a chill that lingered in the night. Going back to the Steinbecks, the family adds weight. Thomas Steinbeck's childhood sightings are one thing, but his grandmother, Olive Steinbeck, brings a wild twist. As a young teacher in the early 1900s, she'd hike through Mule Deer Canyon to her school. She'd leave offerings, fruits, nuts, small tokens, and when she returned, flowers would be there, like a trade. Olive believed the watchers were benevolent, almost protective. That's not just folklore, that's a family story, passed down like an heirloom. Thomas and Broad's books dig into this, quoting locals like Billy Post, who saw watchers as guardians of the mountains, not threats. Modern accounts keep the campfire burning. In 2016, a hiker near Hearst Castle spotted a watcher by the ocean cliffs, visible only to them, not the group. In 2018, Paso Robles local told Weird California they'd seen watchers multiple times, describing them as cloaked, but not hostile. And then we have several social media posts from 2024, and they are wild. One user, going by the name Coscripted, claimed a watcher glowed faintly before vanishing near Jupiro Sierra Peak. Another, Lucia lurker, said their 2023 sighting felt like it was judging me. No clear photos, though, which only deepens the mystery. Then there's the strange selectivity. Folklore says the watchers prefer travelers with simple possessions. Hats, walking sticks, no high-tech gear. A 2022 Historic Mysteries article mentions this, suggesting why they shy away from modern tech, like they're tied to an older world. Hikers have tested it. One user, Trail Wraith, posted in 2024, left my phone off, carried just a stick, saw a shadow move. Coincidence? Another swore they ditched their smartwatch and saw a cloaked figure within hours. It's like the watchers pick their audience, playing by the rules we don't get. The evidence isn't concrete though. There's no bones, no tracks, but it is consistent. Hundreds of people across centuries seeing the same thing. Tall, silent shadows that watch and vanish. It's enough to make you question what's up there, staring down. But not everyone's buying it. Let's hear from the skeptics before we dive deeper. And yes, my dear dwellers, we do give the skeptics their moment on this podcast. The Dark Watchers have hooked us, but is there a rational explanation? The doubters have some heavy hitters, but their tidy answers don't quite seal the deal. The big one's the Brock Inspector, a natural trick where your shadow gets cast under the clouds or fog, blown up huge by low light. The St. Lucias are fog central, especially at twilight, and the setting sun can turn a hiker's silhouette into a giant cloaked figure on a ridge. Add a hat or a backpack, and you've got yourself a Dark Watcher. This isn't just a theory. German hikers in the Haas Mountains have seen similar specters for centuries, and science backs it. Mist plus sunlight equals eerie shadows. A 2024 Atlas Obscura article calls this a likely culprit, noting twilight in St. Lucia's is a prime specter time. Next up, pareidolia. Our brain's habit of seeing faces in chaos, like spotting a smile in the clouds or a figure in the fog. In the mountains, where mist wraps trees and rocks, you might turn a shadow into a cloaked watcher. Psychologists say exhaustion, isolation, or high altitudes crank this up, making hikers see ghosts. A 2021 Life Science piece leans into this, arguing the watchers are just our brains misfiring in the misty peaks. Then there's the infrasound, low-frequency vibrations from wind whistling through the mountains. These can mess with your head, causing unease or even hallucinations. Some tie infrasound to paranormal sightings, and a 2016 Skeptoid article floats it as a possible watcher trigger. Mix that with the St. Lucia's natural spookiness, and you've got a recipe for seeing things that aren't even there. Skeptics also hammer the lack of hard proof. No photos, no evidence, just stories. With California's millions and smartphone cameras everywhere, why is there no clear shot? And the Chumash link? That's shaky. There's no direct evidence their myths include cloaked watchers. To the skeptics, this is a folklore on steroids, fueled by lonely trails and overactive imaginations. But here's where it frays. The broken spectre explains shadows, sure, but what about Olive Steinbeck's flower trades, or the consistent descriptions, hats, cloaks, staffs, across 3,000 years? Hikers not carrying any of these objects are having these shadows placed in the mist? How can that be? Pareidolia might cover a quick glimpse, but why do so many see the same figure? Infrasound could spook you, but it doesn't paint a 10-foot tall silhouette. And no photos argument? Maybe the watchers don't want to be caught. The skeptics wrap it up nearly, but the edges don't line up. Those social media posts, the older tales, they keep the doubt alive, whispering that something's out there, and it's not just fog. The Dark Watchers aren't dusty history. They're alive today in 2025, stalking the ridges and lighting up social media with fresh chills. Let's fast forward to now, where the legend's buzzing, fueled by hikers and weird vibes that won't quit. Last month, April 2025, a group of campers near Big Sur posted on X about a twilight hike gone sideways. They were near Japiro Sierra Peak, where one spotted a tall, hatted shadow on a cliff, motionless. The others, they laughed it off. But the poster, which we referred to earlier, co-scripted, said they all felt heavy, like they weren't alone. No photos were taken, but after the incident, they shared a sketch. Long cloak, wide hat, no face. It's a dead ringer for the old tales. And let's go back to Lucia Lurker. They chimed in on this post. They said they saw one in 2023 near Cone Peak. They thought it was a person till it vanished, still giving them chills. These aren't one-offs. Social media is packed with posts like this, from Ventura Wilderness to Pfeiffer Big Sur, and the paranormal crowd's eating it up. Some call the watchers spirits, maybe Chumash ancestors guarding sacred peaks. Others go wilder, saying they're interdimensional beings, slipping through a twilight when reality is thin. A 2025 post from Dark Horror Vault tied into another creepy folklore, joking they're the smiley entity's cousins. And yeah, some swear they're aliens, watching us like ants in a cosmic terrarium. No evidence, but we can actually compare it to something that happened very recently that went blast on social media. I refer you to the Miami alien incident where people found tall figures in silhouettes in mist at a Miami mall. The descriptions of the creatures seen in Miami and the ones that are in Big Sur are eerily similar. That is obviously a reach, but it is something to note. So why? Why is all this blowing up now? Well, the Big Sur is still wild, drawing adventurers who want to feel that prickle on their neck. The Santa Lucias hasn't changed. They're foggy, rugged, spooky enough to make you question your eyes. Due to the lockdown back in 2020, many people decided to get back out there and started a hiking boom. And these people are posting their stories. A recent poll by Mystic Trails asked, "Seen a Dark Watcher?" 32% of 1,200 voters have said yes. That's no proof, but it's a hell of a signal. These watchers are trending dwellers, and they're not fading anytime soon. We're at the cliff's edge now, where the facts dissolve and the wild ideas take over. The Dark Watchers don't hand us answers. They leave us with questions that crawl under our skin. Let's chase these theories, from grounded to outright unhinged, and see what sticks. Theory number 1. Spirits of the land. The Santa Lucia are sacred to the Chumash, and some say the Watchers are guardians, watching over the peaks. Olive Steinbeck's flower trade leans this way. Maybe they're not hostile, just protective, keeping tabs on who treads their ground. Could they be ancestors tied to the mountain, ensuring that the sacred stays untouched? It fits their non-aggressive vibe and the love for simple travelers. Theory 2. Optical illusions gone mythic. The Brock Inspector, Pareidolia, infrasound, it's a perfect storm. Hikers tired and spooked, seeing shadows and spin them into legends. The hats and cloaks, just cultural baggage, like seeing cowboys in the fog. This explains the vanishings, but it's too tidy, brushing off centuries of consistent tales. Theory 3. Interdimensional watchers. Social media loves this one. The idea is they slip through at twilight, when reality's soft. They're not ghosts or aliens, just beings from another layer, observing us like we watch fish in a tank. Going back to Jeffers with his your own face detail fuels this. What if they're us, from some other plane, staring back? It's a spooky thing to think about. Theory 4. A cult. Now this one's out there, but bear with me. What if the Watchers are, or were, human? Part of a secret group using the mountains to hide. The cloaks, hats, silence. It's somewhat ritualistic. Maybe they're still out there, scaring hikers to keep the land sacred. A 2015 social media post called them Masonic rituals, which is a stretch, but the idea of a hidden order does linger. Now we have Theory 5. Time echoes. This one's my own spin. What if Watchers are imprints, like the mountains recording moments from the past? Spanish settlers, Chumash shamans, lost hikers. Their shadows stuck in the fog, replaying forever. It would explain the old school cloaks and hats, the way they vanish and they feel so other. No proof, just a hunch, but it does give me chills. So, pick your poison dwellers. Spirits fit the land of history, illusions cover the science, interdimensional beings are spooky fun, a cult's got true crime grit, and time echoes feel hauntingly poetic. Me, I lean towards something old, something woven in the mountains themselves. Those ridges feel live, holding secrets older than the Chumash, older than us all. Let's step back and ask, why do the Watchers matter? Why do we keep telling the story from Spanish campfires to social media posts? It's not just about shadows on a ridge, it's about what they say about us. The Watchers tap into something primal, the fear of being seen, judged by something we can't touch. They're not monsters lunging from the dark, they're worse, silent observers, making us question our place in the world. Think about it. In the 1700s, settlers saw them as omens, warning to tread lightly. Steinbeck used them to show nature's indifference. Pepe and his stories fight ends in death, and the Watchers, they just stare. Today, we have hikers post about them like badges of honor, proof they've brushed the unknown. The Watchers shift with us, reflecting our fears and fascinations. In 2025, when we're glued to screens, maybe they're a reminder of what's still wild, what's still untamed. They also tie us to the land. The Santa Lucias aren't just mountains. They're a presence, a force. The Chumash knew it, the settlers felt it, and we still do it. Every sighting, every story is a thread connecting us to who's walked these trails before. When co-scripted sketches a Watcher, they're echoing Steinbeck, echoing the Vaqueros, echoing something ancient. That's power, dwellers. A legend that binds us across time. And let's not ignore the chill. The Watchers are creepy because they don't do anything. No claws, no screams, just watching. That's scarier than any werewolf. It's the feeling you get walking home at night, sensing eyes in the dark. It's why we love horror. Why we listen to What Dwells Beneath and podcasts similar. To face the unknown and to come out shivering, but alive. We've really trekked through the mountains tonight, my dear dwellers. From Spanish settlers spotting Los Vigilantes Oscuros to 2025 hikers posting sketches on social media. The Dark Watchers, tall, silent, cloaked in shadows, leaves us questioning what truly lingers in the fog. Are they spirits guarding sacred peaks, tricks of light or mind, or something older, watching from a place we can't reach? One thing's clear, they're up there, staring down, daring us to look back. Your turn, dwellers. Seen a shadow on a ridge that didn't feel right? Got a theory about what's watching? Join our Discord, the Tavern Dwellers. 2,400 members strong and growing every single day. And drop your take in the encounter section. Or hit our site, taverndwellers.com, and spill your story in our encounter forum. If you're hiking Big Sur, keep your eyes up and your tech off. You might catch a glimpse. And if you want more from me, Perzival, check out my gaming streams and my YouTube channel. Links are in the show notes. Same goes for Neku, the producer of our show. We're both very big gamers here, and creating content in all forms is a big thing that we do. Huge thanks to you, dwellers, for tuning in every week. You're the heartbeat of what dwells beneath, and the ones who make these shadows worth chasing. And to Neku, our producer, your magic makes every gust and hum hit just right. We're a crew, and you're with us, trudging through the dark. One last scene. You're on Big Sur's trail. Twilight is closing in. Fog swirls, and the ridge is right above you, sharp against the sky. There's a figure. Tall, hatted, still as death. It's watching. You blink, and it's gone. But the air's heavier now, like it knows you saw. The Dark Watchers aren't done, dwellers. They're up there, and what dwells beneath those peaks, it's waiting. So stay sharp, stay curious, and I'll catch you next time. Same shadows, new secrets.